All right, let's get into this rap beef. That's the that's the thing. Like I didn't think it would get this big. I'm really glad it is, and we'll talk about that in a second. But man, let's break it down. So to not be going all over the place, I broke this down into, question by question to make sure it's like, oh, okay. Like we're keeping track of this. This has been this came up at a family lunch yesterday. It was pretty strange where it's like, damn, like I didn't know this many people were paying attention to it. So we start with how did this start? Now, there's a whole history of Kendrick and Drake not seeing eye to eye. Yes, they've been on tracks together before. There was not old school, right? How long ago did Control come out with Kendrick on it? And Kendrick's always been of the stance where it's like, I'm the illest. I'm the illest alive. No one can go bar to bar with me. And no one really has, right? Like as far as rap goes, current modern day rap, no one has really matched that. People are like, oh, J. Cole, J. Cole. And it's like, I don't know. So then recently, right? What kind of resparks all of this stuff to get it popping again? Um, Metro and Future have an album together. They have a track called Like That. Essentially, Kendrick says, hey, I'm still the best. I just want to remind y'all that I'm still the best. And then I think he had a concert or something where he made some more remarks. So then this beef kind of gets going a little bit more. Now, in that same diss, right? In that same diss where he says like that, it also addresses J. Cole. J. Cole comes out with a response. So now let's move on to the timeline, right? We're going to do a quick recap of timeline as far as who dropped what tracks. We're not going to get too deep into like what did they say on it. We'll just have a summarized version of that after we go over each track. J. Cole comes out with a track, a diss track. Apparently he went crazy. It was a 7-minute drill or something like that. And then he apologizes for it. Now, you can't do much worse than that, right? Like it's okay if you drop a diss track and it kind of flops a little bit. Like, people just don't feel it that well. But if you apologize for a diss track, like you already had the whole, oh, I'm walking around with the stick. I love world peace type shit persona. But then you engage in this rap beef. Just engage, be engaged. Do the beef correctly. Apologize and make me lose a lot. Not respect, but it was just like, damn, bro, like, really? Like I thought you were him. You kept saying this and that on all your verses, on all KOD, the albums that come out after that, where you're like, hey, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Oh, I also have these two other dudes with me that are on the same level, Kendrick and Drake. Kendrick says, nah, it's just me. So then you have a diss track and then you apologize. It's just a bad look. It's just a bad look. It's like if you say a good joke and then you apologize for it. Like that's not beef. Like, you being like, hey, you know what? I actually didn't mean that. Big ups to you, bro. You just get super little brothered. That's what it is. You get super little brothered, and no one will see you in the same light again. No other newer day rapper will be able to pick a beef with you, as far as people in the class under you. Like, I'm sure you can still smoke them. But as far as your tier, right? Your tier, your class. Those three are the main dudes you need to fight with. Cole, Kendrick, Drake. Anyone else doesn't really matter. If you go pick on Lil Baby, that's a new class. That Lil Baby needs to be beefing with 21 Savage and stuff. It was just such a bad, like, come on, bro. Really? It made me not even want to listen to the diss track. Because it's like, you apologize for this? Get out. You're done. So now we keep it moving. Now then, I literally had to write all this down because there's been a lot. Drake comes out with a track called Push Ups. And in addition to that, he comes out with another track that was a little bit AI inspired. It was called Tailor Made Freestyle. And the track basically had two AI clips of a verse for Tupac and a verse for Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg was not actually on the track. Both of those verses, obviously, Tupac's dead, apparently. Both of those verses, AI generated. Very weird. Very weird. Just like, why'd you do that? Like this is about rap. This isn't about like who can be the most creative in creating a song. That piece was strange to me. The Tupac team, like the Tupac team essentially consists of probably family remaining, lawyers and stuff like that. They get put out a cease and desist. The track gets removed. I'm sure you can still find it on YouTube, but it kind of just removes itself from the equation after that. Next up, Drake comes out with Euphoria after a decent amount of time. People are like, oh, you know what? Kendrick took a little too long to respond. I don't know if he, still got it. Then comes 616 in Los Angeles, where he makes a claim of Drake having a daughter. And so the same way Drake lost the previous beef he was in with Pusha T, um, the same strategy, right? Hey, you have a kid that you're, not being a parent to. That's what 616 was. Now, this is when the rumors of, hey, did that information get planted start? And it's like, damn, like this is actual guerrilla warfare type shit. Drake follows up with a song called Family Matters. And this is when Drake kind of starts playing the whole angle of like, you keep acting like this big dude on the scene, but you're really like 5'2". You're not, that big. Like your wife has left you. You keep acting like, you're this I gotta free the slaves dude. And that's not really what you do. You don't really put anyone on. You don't really put out music for your people like that. Your music's been flopping for the last couple of years. So this is the angle Drake's taking, right? You're washed up, bum, get out of here. You're not even committed to the game like that. I had no idea I would be ever doing some shit like this. Like this is some shit that I had to go to YouTube where I was like, oh, I need this shit explained to me. I need this shit explained to me. I feel like I'm so removed from it. But what's wild is like this is my generation's class, right? This is the people that I was bumping in college, and now this is what's happening, and it's the biggest beef happening. But once again, we'll get to that in a second. Kendrick follows it up with Meet the Grams, and not the same. Not the same. Uh, that was the track. That was the track when that came out and I heard it. It was like, okay, there is a high probability Drake loses this shit. In that track, and the cover art's pretty funny, he's basically calling Drake a pedophile. Now, this rumor has been a rumor for a while, as far as like, oh, Drake had this 16-year-old girl on stage. Oh, Drake rented out this whole restaurant for this 15-year-old girl. And I've never really dove too much into it because it's like, oh, okay, like if that's true, then people will do their thing, justice will come, blah, blah, blah. But he doubles down. So Kendrick doubles down on this angle where it's like, hey, you're a pedophile. And if that sticks, you're done. You're done. And what a good angle, right? Where it's just like everyone there was murmurs out there of this happening. Now, I might have been wrong about this daughter thing, but if I can get this thing to stick, and it's not that hard, right? It's really not that hard to get that kind of allegation to stick, where it's like, if I just call you something long enough, loud enough, in enough time, people will believe what I'm saying, whether it's true or not, whether I have any proof or not. If I keep on saying, hey, he's a pedophile, he's a pedophile, he's a pedophile, he's a wife beater, or he's a wife beater, like he does this, he does whatever, I can get you to believe that with enough time. Now, look, there's a lot of angles you can take, right? You can be like, oh, you're a bum, you don't put out good music, all that stuff. It's one thing if you put out bad music. It's another thing if you're a pedophile. So the Kendrick angle, I will say, I was like, this could be tough. This could be tough. So to wrap up the number of songs that came out after Not Like Us, Drake comes out yesterday, literally yesterday, with a track called The Heart Part 6. And I shouldn't say yesterday because I don't know when you'll listen to this, but probably about 24 hours later, The Heart Part 6. And he basically calls out that he planted a story. He's never raped anyone, or he's never been any type of pedophile in his life. He should be worried about, Kendrick should be worried about his wife leaving him. Kendrick should be worried about seeing his own kids. And it was subpar. It was all right. The best track out of all these tracks so far is either Drake's Family Matters or the Kendrick Not Like Us. The Hard Part 6 was all right. But, sorry, give me a second. Okay, so now we'll slowly start getting to the part of who do I think is winning. But first, we must address, this is the biggest rap beef of our generation. There's nothing close. There's absolutely nothing close. The Drake Meek Mill stuff was hilarious when it happened, and Drake absolutely knocked him out of the park. The Drake Pusha T stuff was very, very interesting when that happened. And Drake lost. Drake lost, but when was the last time you heard a Pusha T song? You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna highlight this a little bit more, where it's yes, there are better rappers than Drake out there. But as far as greatness goes, no one listens to Pusha T. I understand I'm exaggerating, and I'm sure he has plenty of streams. But you go around, people don't know when the last album he had that came out. People don't know any single tracks from that. If I told you right now, you got your headphones in, listen to me, or you're watching this on YouTube, whatever it is, name me 5 Pusha T tracks. We will be sitting here for a minute. So even though he lost that Pusha T battle, Pusha T kind of goes back into the woods. Drake remains relevant, very popular. He'll drop music. We'll kind of forget about this whole thing. He'll flip the whole angle of his son. You start seeing him at the Toronto Raptor games, and it's oh, he's such a good dad, all that stuff, whatever. Now you bring in Kendrick Lamar. In my point of view, Kendrick is 100% the illest rapper in the game right now. Where his product, and I understand he has a rare product, right? He doesn't drop as frequent as other artists. But I think that lends itself to how good it is. Where it's oh, you know what? Less is better in this case. If he keeps on putting stuff out, it gets to the point where it dilutes a little bit. But Kendrick's bodies of work, Section 80 is one of my favorite albums. And I don't even think that's an album. I'm pretty sure you have to listen to it off of YouTube or something. Kendrick is 100% the illest. And the same way I'll say Drake is 100% the GOAT. Now, a lot of people are going to be mad at me. I understand. The kids call it glazing. Where I'm, riding the Drake train too hard. But you cannot argue. Who are you going to tell me is the greatest? And I understand, I'm talking about the R&B hip hop game. R&B hip hop rap game. Actually, not R&B. Hip hop rap game. Drake is still the top dude in this game. I understand Taylor Swift is over here, and we still got a whole album review to do over her. But as far as this goes, the amount of let's see, how would I describe this? The bodies of work that Drake has compared to Kendrick Lamar, Drake's are better. If I asked you the question right now, one person's discography gotta go forever, would you keep Drake's or would you keep Kendrick Lamar's? What would you do? Would you keep Take Care and Nothing Was the Same? Or would you keep Section 80 and what's probably the next best body of work? Damn, in my opinion. Whose discography would you keep? Now, I understand the opinion, varies from person to person. Some people like this better. Some people like this better. But there are numbers to back this stuff. There's numbers. And I know how much we love numbers. Oh, Jordan has 6 rings. We love stats. We love stats when it comes to proving people's greatness. But this dude, Drake, since 2008, has just been on this upward trajectory. got to the top, and then understood that his same product wouldn't hit the same, right? The same Loverboy stuff would not work. The same, I got my heart broken kind of thing probably wouldn't work the same. So what happens? You start making songs with all these other up and coming artists, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, a ton more, right? An artist can literally pop overnight with the feature from Drake. It is what it is. And that's how he's been able to keep his status afloat. Where it's like, hey, I'm still relevant in my generation of people, right? People that are like, look, I'm 30 years old. People, he's the top dude in our generation. I understand he may not be the person we listen to the most, but over our lifetime, he's probably the person we have listened to the most. Maybe not currently, but over the lifetime, it's Drake. I'm Team CB. But Drake's that dude. And look, I understand the glazing is happening heavily. The glazing is happening heavily, and I apologize. But as far as Kendrick goes, you don't hear it like that. Now, here's my sports comparison. A lot of you people are going to kill me for this. Maybe you dislike the video. Maybe you unsubscribe. It is what it is. Drake is LeBron. Drake is LeBron. Kendrick is Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. Kendrick is Kobe Bryant. Where if I'm looking for the illest, if I'm looking for a dog, if I'm looking for the greatest player to get me in a 1v1 situation and win that stuff. So if I'm looking for the greatest player to go get me a bucket in a one-on-one scenario, I would take Kobe over LeBron. I would. I think as far as that type of basketball, I would take Kobe. So if I needed the illest rap verse in the world right now, out of these two, I would take Kendrick. But if I needed the greatest hit, the thing that was going to captivate billions of people, and, people are going to play it on the radio, people are going to play it in the club, people are going to play it while they're getting ready to go out, people are going to play it while they're cleaning the house, who am I taking? I'm taking LeBron. And that's the difference. Where it's like, I get it. As far as rap beef goes, it's not hard to tip my hat to Kendrick. But if we're talking greatest, right? If we're talking about, like, I understand these two start going at it and we start saying like, oh, this person, like he's just better. He's just better. He's just better. Yes, Kendrick is better. But as far as like songs go listen to Family Matters, the diss track on YouTube. Drake has, it's a different thing. The same way you watch LeBron, where it's like, yeah, I understand this guy might not be the best shooter in the world, but he does all this other shit at a very high efficient rate. So do I take, a 30% decrease on shot making percentage if I can gain X, Y, and Z in all these other categories? So who is winning? I know this is going to be tough. I do think Drake is winning. Unless. So I do think Drake is winning because it's like Kendrick just doesn't have the tie to the fans like that. People love him because it's cool. It's cool to love him. Let's just be real, right? It's cool to say, yeah, bro, you don't know nothing. Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. Bro, you were 5 years old while that fool was playing basketball. You have no clue what that dude played like. You have no idea the competition he went against. So I understand it's cool to say Kendrick is the best. It's cool to say Kendrick is winning this battle. But in my opinion, as far as this whole guerrilla warfare thing goes, with planting fake information, doing this pump fake, leading them this way, then going this way, that's the war to me. The only thing I would say is if anything of this pedophilia stuff is true about Drake, it'd be hard. I would have to have another episode going on. What we're going on 20 minutes right now. We would have to have another episode to literally I would have to just apologize. You can, look, I'm Team CB. Everyone knows what happened with him and Rihanna. I'm still, by his side with all that stuff. Like, I think, reformed, all that stuff. But you cannot bounce back. You cannot be forgiven for messing with kids. That's just what it is. Look at what they did to R. Kelly's ass. That man is gone. We will never see that fool again. Some of the greatest hits. But don't you dare mess with kids. So if any of that stuff comes out to be true, like let's say Kendrick has a smoking gun and he's been saving it for round 9, Kendrick will win. Now, there's a lot of rumors around like, oh, Kendrick Lamar has a new album coming out, therefore he's picking this beef to kind of, get things going. I can understand that, right? Kanye does that all the time where he starts going on these rants because new music is coming. Speaking of Kanye, let's talk about that. The externals, right? The external people that keep adding on to this. Kanye tried for a little bit, and it's like, hey, bro, this isn't your class of people. You already had your kind of moment in the sun. You kind of go sit over there, please. Metro Boomin. Stop. Like, I understand that whole BBL Drizzy track came out on SoundCloud, and it's like, oh, this is fun. This is hilarious. Ha, ha, ha. But the last thing, in one of Drake's disses, he told Metro Boomin to shut the hell up and just go make some beats. The last thing you do is go make a beat. Like, you get out of here. Future, how dare you? Honestly, how dare you? Like, that man Drake revitalized your career. You were one of the illest dudes. Dirty Sprite, March Madness, one of the meanest dudes in the game. And you fell off. Next thing you know, diamonds on me dancing. What's that album called? What a Time to Be Alive? The album cover, it was basically like a diamond's what was it, digital dash, that whole thing. That man came back from that. And then after that, you get a lot more Future projects. You get that song where they were in Wendy's flipping burgers. How dare you, bro? Like, that's why I know that there has to be some shit behind the scenes that I have zero, purview to, as far as like what's going on. Who else is involved in this? Rick Ross. Oh my gosh. How dare you talk about people having body transformations? Like, we remember how big you were. You think we believe that you worked out and lost that weight? Whether someone got their eyebrows done, whether they got a nose job, this lifted, that lifted, they still cut you open and cut you down in half. You're the one with the BBL. Like, that's the wild part to me. And, people keep saying like, oh, all these other people should chime in, give their take, join the beef. And it would be cool if like Future didn't go after Drake or Metro Boomin didn't go after Drake, but they went after someone else in Drake's camp, right? So it's like, you got your 5, I got my 5. Everyone start matching up. Everyone start matching up and go get a bucket on the dude that's guarding you. Now, I say that because I think it could get really interesting. Because speaking of Kobe Bryant, before Kendrick Lamar, there was this guy that was the illest. And he's on Drake's side. And his name's Lil Wayne. Now, if that gets popping, boy, if I hear where's my lighter? If I hear on one of these diss tracks, I'm going to lose my mind. Because after that happens, then, like, you're not in great shape. Because sure, Drake may not be greatest at the whole rapping thing. He might be good at the whole beef thing and the guerrilla warfare. How he did Meek Mill pretty much ended his career. When was the last time you remember a Meek Mill song? The fool went to jail afterwards. That's how bad the beef was. He got sent to jail. Lil Wayne could mix these things up. But I don't think it'll go there. I think this has reached its peak, and now it'll get to the point where people are kind of tired, where it's like, all right, bro, I can't keep up with all of this. It needs to transform a little bit. Someone got to go after someone else. There needs to be a little bit more chaos. All that to say, this is all to distract everyone from the P. Diddy shit. Let me wrap this up by saying, where does it go from here? Like I said, I just think it needs to be more chaos. I think this will die out if it's just going to be YouTube track after YouTube track. Also, I love that it's coming out on YouTube, like the old school way where you'd have to go, to some datpiff.com and find some diss track that someone released. I really like that it's on there and not like Apple Music and things like that. Once again, I just think this is all to distract from the P. Diddy stuff. Speaking of P. Diddy, Harvey Weinstein gets released. Yeah, that's the world we live in. How do I go about this by not getting destroyed by everyone? In 2020, at the peak of the Me Too movement, the main person that we got out of here was Harvey Weinstein's nasty ass. There were a bunch of women in Hollywood that came out. There was a bunch of dudes in Hollywood that came out. And basically we're like, hey, this is what this dude did. This is what happened. I didn't feel like I could speak out. And so now, they locked him up. Recently, he was in court. They threw out the 2020 rape conviction. I think obviously the prosecutors will be trying to retry the case. I don't really know how that works. I thought after you get, convicted of something, I guess it would have to go to a jury. So I wonder if this even went to a jury at all. Because I think after a jury says not guilty, you can't go back and have another hearing. Like, that's double jeopardy. Definitely, a loss. Definitely a loss for society. Like, bro, that man looks like he did it. Like I know Chappelle had a joke about that in one of his specials where it's like, you look at him and it's like, yeah, that dude's probably, doing some nasty ass stuff. He's definitely one of those dudes in Hollywood that was like, if you sleep with me, I'll give you a part. And it worked. I think it's tough, man, where like, bad people don't go away if you have money. Harvey Weinstein, what's his name? Bill Cosby, P. Diddy. These people doing these nasty things don't go away if you have money. R. Kelly was broke. That's why they still got his ass locked up. Okay. On a lighter note. So on a lighter note, hello, my name is Ajay Patel. Welcome back to the Ajay Patel podcast. I'm sorry we got this weird angle. I got a tripod missing an iPhone clamp. I didn't want to pull the light out because I'm traveling soon. I actually go to Rome tomorrow. So my mom turns 60 a little bit later this year, but you got to plan trips accordingly. We go to Rome tomorrow, probably like a 10-hour trip, land a whole day later, grabbing a car, going to do the Amalfi Coast. I'm not the biggest person on traveling, right? Like I don't desire travel, but I thoroughly enjoy it, if that makes sense. Where I don't seek out like, oh, I gotta go to Rome. I gotta go see the wonders of the world. That's not me. Isha, yes, right? Uh, but it's cool where it's like someone got to be like that. Someone's got to get my ass out of this place and show me some other cool things. Because I really do like being there, right? I love going to see different parts of the world, seeing how different people live, seeing different culture. And also, things aren't going that great here. Like there's a lot of chaos. I don't think people in Italy are camping out on their campuses, screaming free Palestine. You don't have gay and trans people in Italy screaming free Palestine, not really knowing that if they went to Palestine, they would die. Like things aren't going great here. Welcome to episode 32. Speaking of the college campus protests, I don't want to be the person that keeps on saying like, oh, you shouldn't protest like this. You shouldn't do this. I'm all for the peaceful protest. I'm all for the peaceful sit-ins. I'm all for showing unity against something evil happening in the world. And I think what's happening at most of these campuses is exactly that. But I also think it, starts getting a little carried away. When you start vandalizing property, breaking into certain study halls and locking yourself in there. Like the clips I've been seeing online where it's like, all these campus police just locking people up, using brutal force and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is the youth though, right? Like they have this luxury and they got to be the voice. People my age will not do this. People my age are either got to be super radical where they go to the Capitol and think they're going to get away with it, or they post something on Twitter. They post a little something on the internet and then they go back and do their 9 to 5 because we got people to feed. We got a 401k to care about. We got to worry about rent. When you're in college, you don't need any of that. You can just be like, hey, you know what? I'll be all right. I'll take out some more financial aid, whatever. Like, this is the voice of the people. Like, I fully support the young people doing this. And I get it. I just think it's foolish to think like, oh, we're going to break down this building. No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't forget that these aren't schools, right? These are legit businesses you're messing with. You're messing with the business of Columbia. You're messing with the business of the University of Texas at Austin. You're messing with their business. They don't care that much about the school aspect. So if you're messing with their business, what do you think they're going to do? And that's the unfortunate part where it's like the message gets lost in the chaos. Where what's even happening over there right now? I'm so focused on all these campus protests. I haven't even kept up with any type of are the hostages free yet? And it's crazy. But to all the college kids out there, I know y'all probably not going to listen to me saying this. Keep it up. Keep it up. Be peaceful. Get this movement going. Maybe it might work out. It might work out. On a brighter note, cannabis. Cannabis has been in the news. Now, for those that are listening, I don't really speak too much about it because you know how frowned upon it is. But I'm an avid cannabis user, whether it's actual smoking, whether it's edibles. I fully, thoroughly support cannabis, especially when you get to this age, bro. You can't be drinking the same. That shit hurts. And cannabis is a good medium where it's like, you know what? I'll be inebriated, quote unquote, go out, socialize, have a good time, maybe just kick it at home and not drink alcohol. And I think it's being better for my body. Now, what happened? The DEA, Controlled Substance Act, has 5 schedules of drugs, So it ranges from 1 to 5. 1 being things where if you have it one time, you're addicted, you're hooked. Things like heroin are in Schedule 1. That is where cannabis was. That's wild. To think cannabis was in the same class, structure, and conversation as heroin. I don't know how, whether it's like, hey, whether you lighten up a spoon or you lighten up a blunt, you're going to get addicted. This is frowned upon. You cannot do this. That is why a lot of businesses, so there's literally a cannabis shop down the street, pretty new, decent, not expensive, but you'll see the downfalls of the business side of things. So if you are a cannabis business, it's hard to take out loans for certain things because banks won't approve of it. Bank of America won't give you a business loan if they know you're doing cannabis because of things like this, where it's like, hey, this is a Schedule 1 substance. We can't give you money to sell that to the public, whether it's legal federally or legal in your state or not. We're not going to do that. So where does it move to? It moves to Schedule 3. First of all, round of applause. Schedule 3. So what are other drugs that are in Schedule 3? Ketamine. I know people like that nowadays. A lot of people like, I understand if you're in Texas listening to this, you haven't heard of it. But if you come to LA, boy, do they push ketamine. boy, do they say you ain't got to work out. You don't have to eat healthy. You don't even have to be nice to people. You just got to do ketamine, and it'll do X, Y, Z, blah, 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 all that stuff. Hell nah. Look, I think Schedule 3, even then, that's too much. Like, that's too high on the scale. Actually, let's look this shit up and call out some other ones. Schedule, drugs. Okay, I'm gonna get fucking flagged for this. Schedule, tier of drugs. Example of Schedule 1 drugs include heroin, lysergic acid, whatever, and meth. Jesus Christ. Schedule 2 drugs like fentanyl. So what the fuck? I don't know if y'all know this, or you had to have. Fentanyl's been killing a lot of people lately, mainly through the transportation of cocaine. And honestly, a lot more other drugs that are just being laced with this shit because, first of all, it gets you addicted more. And then, as you're addicted more, you have a higher means of overdosing. So that's Schedule 2. Schedule 3, which is where cannabis will live. Ketamine, man, I can't say this. Anabolic steroids. Schedule 4. So I guess these are things that like alprazolam, Corrisprotol. Thank God I wasn't a doctor. Jesus Christ. Diazepam. And then Schedule 5 being, things that have low potential of abuse. This is like small dosages of codeine. That's crazy. Anyways, so I think what will happen now is people. Now, obviously, it's still not federally legal. It's still not federally legal, which means places like Bank of America still probably will have issues giving out loans to these places. But I think the world of cannabis will get easier. So I think, sometimes if you're in California, you've seen this a lot. If you're in Denver, you probably see it where it's like the cannabis tax. The cannabis tax, I think, will drop a little bit because it's pretty wild, right? Like, let's say you got this one pack of gummies. I mean, this is lighter, but imagine. And it's $20. Once you go check out, they'll be like $32. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where did that come from? You got maybe $1 or $2 from tax. And then a lot of these fees come from just cannabis taxes. And that's wild to me, where it's that kind of markup. And hopefully with this whole Schedule 3 movement, I think things will drop back a little bit. And yeah, hopefully for the better. Okay, we're going to talk about one small thing and then get into some sports now. Firstly, starting with last week or 2 weeks ago. So secondly, whatever number I'm on, I apologize for skipping a week. I actually recorded a great episode with my friend Natasha and I lost the audio file to it. So I'm trying to figure out how to make the iPhone audio sound decent, something similar to this quality where it's an actual microphone. The AI, programs really make you sound like a robot and it chops it up. I'm just not a big fan. Still trying to figure out how to salvage that one. And then look, high probability I miss next week. Just going to be honest with you guys. Like I said, I'm traveling, but I will try to figure it out. Episode 31, we talked about Marcus Brownlee, a very, very popular YouTuber known for his tech reviews, his comments and thoughts on tech. And I said, hey, you know what? If he comments on this product that I mentioned way back, the Rabbit R1, and he calls it trash, would I keep my order? So shortly after that video, sure enough, this video comes out and he reviews the product and just calls it similar to the Humane AI pin, where it's like, these products aren't complete. Like these subpar products are coming out, but with a lot of hype, keyword buzz around it. Ooh, machine learning. Ooh, AI. Ooh, large action model. And honestly, I believe him, where it's like, I don't see this tool helping me make things easier in my life based on, what he was showing. Cause it's like anything you got to charge in addition to your phone, it's a hindrance, right? Like I hate wearing Apple Watches because I have to charge that shit. I hate having an iPad because I have to charge that thing. The laptop makes more sense, right? You're sitting there, you can plug it in for a little bit. Maybe you go make some food, you can plug it in for a little bit and then use it. But the way he talked about the battery life on that Rabbit R1, you know what? I shouldn't have been talking shit. I got to figure out how to cancel this crap. Okay, sports. I'm actually really excited for this bit. I wish I had my boy Kunal here. I told his ass that he gotta get that microphone out and start this segment now because I love the NBA playoffs. It's just so much better basketball. The product is just so much better than any regular season game. Intensity, the amount people are trying, just the hype behind, the commercials, the commentary, this and that. They got the best people working it, and it's just such a better product. I've been watching basketball damn near on a nightly basis. Now, look, if you don't like sports, I apologize. I'm probably going to turn you off with this bit, but check it out, man. If you got a dude in your life, or maybe you're a lady that likes sports, it's a good time right now to just sit on the couch and just check it out. Maybe get enticed. I like to give each a little updates, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Minnesota took a, 1-game lead against Denver. It's pretty crazy. They got this guy named Anthony Edwards and all that stuff. Let's dive into each series. My Dallas Mavericks make it out of the first round. I was a little bit worried because James Harden was playing like the greatest two guard of all time, and he's up there, and it was terrifying. And the Mavericks looked a bit strange with some of the lineups getting thrown out there. They're able to speed it up and win, in my opinion. They were able to act like a young team and then beat the older Clippers. Now you go against the Thunder, 1 seed against a 5 seed. The Thunder are much younger, and boy, are they good. Now, I don't want to sound too bandwagony because those are, that's my team. Got that emotional connection to them. But the only way I see the Mavericks pulling this out, and I do see them winning this series, honestly, the only way I see the Mavericks pulling this out is if you go back to kind of the Luka Doncic style of basketball, where pace slows down and you're kind of killing them slowly. Where the Clippers, you had an old team you were going against. And if you try to kill them slowly, they can kind of hang around. And then they have a lot of good ISO players. The Thunder, I feel like you have to combat youth with a little bit of age, or actually more so tempo control. So I think we will see Luka have a much better series in this round than he did in the first round. Whereas I think Kyrie will have a little bit backseat role to this. I still think it'll be tough. Mavs in 6. Timberwolves and Nuggets. Now, this one's already been crazy. This game 2 is literally on right now, and Minnesota has a 1-game lead. The Timberwolves might be the team to beat. I know. The Nuggets are the Nuggets. I shouldn't doubt them too much. I still have the Nuggets winning this series. The issue is I think Jamal Murray, the point guard to the Nuggets, just got to be healthy. He's a killer, and he turns on when they need him, and they handled the Lakers. But he's just got to be in a better state to complement Jokic. The Timberwolves have probably the meanest dude in the game right now, and probably for the next 7 years, and that's Anthony Edwards. Now, look, I think Luka will go on to win MVPs. I also think this guy will go on to win MVPs. There's just something about him. It's the swagger, where it's like, yeah, this dude gets buckets, but I think he would stay around. When people were hyping up Tyrese Maxey in round 1 on the Philadelphia 76ers, oh, he's the future of the NBA. Nah, I get it. He's scoring and he's hooping right now, but not like Anthony Edwards, where it's like, this feels forever. This feels like in the next coming years, if you don't win it here, you're going to get one. Somewhere you're going to get one. This matchup is fun just because of the pure size on this team. I think on these teams, I think it still comes down to Nuggets being better and in more control of what they want to do. Nuggets in 6. Pacers Knicks. This one actually just concluded in front of me. Weirdly, the Knicks win. I have no idea how they won. I need to look this up. I guess it makes sense that they're the number 2 seed and the Pacers are the number 6 seed. The Pacers beat an absolutely broken Bucks team in round 1. I don't even count that. The Knicks beat the 76ers with a guy that keeps on scoring 2 points at a time in Joel Embiid. I just don't like the Brunson basketball stuff. I really, really loved him when he was on Dallas and he was that 6 man where it's like, keep us alive for 6 minutes so we can, bring Luka back in and we can still be in the game. Brunson is great. I hate the Trae Young stuff where he'll jump backwards into someone and draw a foul. That part's pretty annoying. And I don't think this team has the size to go against the Pacers. I do think Pacers win this in 7. Now we move to the final matchup, which this ain't going to take long. Celtics versus Cavaliers. What's it called? Celtics in 4. It's the Celtics, bro. Porzingis or no Porzingis, I would just tell Porzingis to sit out, bro. Go to that cryotherapy, whatever the fuck it's called, and just take your time. We got a good enough squad here to deal with the Cavs. If Mitchell ain't beating you, if Mitchell ain't scoring, you ain't winning. I understand he's going to get his, but the Celtics are the number 1 seed for a reason. There's a reason that they won 60 games and other teams were struggling to hit 48, 50. Celtics in 4. Overall, it's been great basketball. And I'm excited to wrap this up and then go watch the rest of this Timberwolves Nuggets game. Man, I don't know if I'm ready for the heartbreak, though, if the Thunder really do mean business. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all's time. Hopefully, we can stay up to date with this Kendrick and Drake beef before more and more happens. It's been exhausting as an older head, and I know I'm not that old. It's been tough to keep up with. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys again. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Don't forget to like. We've been dropping on these likes. I understand I haven't been dropping product, but we've been dropping on these likes. Don't forget to shop Express Men, and thank you. And